Alright guys, so here's the review of the Baltany Dirty Dozen Homage. So you might think you've seen me review this one before, but that was actually the automatic 36mm, whereas this one is the Quartz 39mm. So obviously there's going to be a couple of little differences with this, most notably the movement and the size, but obviously the price as well. So this is a more budget option, but we'll talk about that more as we get into the review. So full disclosure, I was sent the watch for free, don't have to send it back, you know the score. So I'm going to change the way I do my reviews, going to keep it 100% honest all the time, no matter what. So the question is this going to be the one you want, or is the automatic the one for you? Let's jump right in and find out. So here's the packaging it comes in, the usual Baltany one. Nice case, not a useless box, which is always good. Quickly go over what else is in here. So we've got branded cleaning cloth, the warranty card, which is stamped and dated, which is good, user manual, and then a nice spring bar removal tool, which is always handy. But we'll quickly pop all this away and then show you the watch. And here it is. So if you're familiar with the 36mm automatic one, the first thing you'll probably notice with this is the hands are different. So quickly going to zoom in and show you that in a bit more detail. The previous version had more of a cathedral style hand, whereas this is more of a sword one. It's nicely done though. Nice high polish around the outside of those hands. And then filled with lume. And then same with the second hand in that subdial, although it is a different colour. That one is white, whereas the others are more of a yellow. When it comes to that subdial, it is just printed on, as is the rest of the dial, fully printed. So you've got the Baltany branding at the top, that arrow just below it, as I say, the subdial down at the 6, and then we've just got the numbers around the outside, and then that train track as well, just broken up with a little dots for the markers, and then the lines on the 12, 3, 6 and 9. All nicely done, but fairly simple, as you kind of expect with this style of watch. Nice length on the hands as well, that minute hand going right to the edge, just into that minute track, and then the hour hand just short of those hour markers. When it comes to the rest of the watch, we've got a fully brushed case and an untied crown there. The only slightly polished section is on the bottom of that inside of the bezel. Just a little ring around the outside, just to break it up slightly. It is nicely finished, nicely brushed, and that polished section is nicely done too. You can also see we've got an ever so slight dome on that crystal. We'll be checking in a bit if it is sapphire. When it comes to the strap, it's a vintage style leather one. So you've got the stitching on the top and the bottom. Nicely done. Nothing too fancy, but it's supple enough and it's nice and comfortable as well. No break-in period needed. Case back is fully sterile, again just brushed. It's a screw down one. And when it comes to the hardware on that strap, this is actually slightly different. So that's more of a satin kind of finish on this. So not the same as the case. Thought I'd got a bit of a scratch there, but no, just a little bit of muck on it. I think this is carried over from the automatic version because I had more of a satin kind of finish to the case, whereas this one is just a standard brushed one. So I suspect it might be the same strap. So, seeing as we've touched on it, let's check out if it is actually sapphire crystal. Using the trusty diamond selector tool. And yep, we have got sapphire crystal, so that's always good to see. Especially at this reduced price compared to the automatic. They could have cut that, but thankfully they haven't. So, you're probably wondering what exactly is the movement in this. So as I said, it's a quartz one, and it's the VD77. So, fairly basic movement. We've got a screw down crown, pop it out, we've not got a ghost date position or anything, and then we can just change it, pop it back in, second hand re-engages, all works well. Obviously no hand winding because it's an automatic, so just screw it back down, all works well, no issues at all. So the other thing you're probably wondering, have they cut the corners when it comes to the loom? So let's check that out now. So you can see we've got a bit there already, but let's charge it up, give it a proper chance. And there we go. So as you've come to expect with Baltany, pretty impressive loom. Even on this quartz version, which is a more budget option they offer. You can probably also see as well, there's a little bit of a difference between the hands and the indices. So they've got different loom on them, and obviously the brightness is a little different too. So we've got a mixture of C3 and BGW9 on this. All nicely applied, no patchiness at all. And despite it only being a printed dial, so no indices to actually fill with loom, they've still managed to get a decent amount on there as well. And I like that they've even loomed that second hand as well. Because they could have easily left that off, but the fact that they haven't is a nice little touch. So when it comes to longevity, it's been about as good as every other Baltany I've had. So, suffice to say, pretty good. Definitely one of the better AliExpress brands when it comes to loom. And with it being a non-diver as well, it's definitely right up there. It's only really divers that are going to be beating this when it comes to AliExpress watches in my experience. So now that you know we've got good loom and sapphire crystal, you're probably wondering what are the dimensions on this. So let's quickly go over them now. So we've got 39mm diameter, 11.7mm thick, 20mm lug width, and then the all-important lug to lug, despite this being the bigger version, is still pretty compact at 46.4. So nice dimensions, despite it being larger than the 36 one, should still wear really well on a lot of different size wrists. So now the main question is, how much is this quartz version in comparison to the automatic? So obviously bear in mind, when it comes to AliExpress, these prices can fluctuate quite a lot, which is why I tend not to include them in videos. But obviously I'm going to have to mention it in this, so you get a rough idea at least. So at the time of filming this quartz version will be picked up for about £111. I'll leave the conversions on the side. And then when it comes to the automatic, in comparison, that's about £153. So if you're on a tighter budget and you like the look of these, this quartz one could be for you. But let me know, which do you prefer? Do you prefer the quartz with that slightly larger size, or do you prefer the smaller automatic? Speaking of that automatic, I've actually got it down here if you haven't seen it already. So if you want to check out the review for that, I'll leave a link to that up here, and I'll probably leave it down in the description as well. But let's show you what this one's like on wrist, and then we'll wrap this up. So here's what it looks like on my 7-inch wrist. And as I say, with that pretty compact lug to lug, and the nice bit of curvature to them, it wears really well on my 7-inch wrist, I think. In fact, the more I wear this, I think I might actually prefer this size to the 36mm. Obviously, if you're a bigger guy, this is going to be a lot better for you. Or if you just prefer your watches a little bit bigger, this would be more up your alley. Again, as I say, nice, soft, supple strap. Really comfortable, no breaking period at all. And it's just a really clean design. You know what you're getting with a Dirty Dozen Homage, and this is a really well done one. So again, it just comes down to whether you're more interested in having a quartz for a little bit cheaper, or the automatic with the smaller size. So again, as I say, let me know which one you think is the better one for you particularly and why. But that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.